What's going on, everybody? Bottom line with Miz. I'm not going to beat around the bush. We'll go straight to it today. I'm cool as ice. We lost the game to the Cowboys. That's fine. I told you guys all week the Giants don't have the roster to beat the Cowboys right now. The Giants are sitting with, 14, 15 injuries. You're missing an entire secondary. You're fielding players that should never be on an NFL field in the secondary. That'll never work in the NFL, especially against a team like the Cowboys. You're missing your other edge rusher. You're missing more than half your offensive line, which is why the Giants' run game has disappeared. Okay, Barkley's running into a wall, and I think they only gave Barkley 15 handoffs last night on purpose, knowing that the O-line wasn't fit and they were going to get him hurt. So you figure rest him a little, run the other two running backs, okay, Breida, and you rest Barkley for next week. There's no reason to panic because anybody with half a brain knew the Giants weren't winning yesterday. A lot of people were a little bit being homers and fans, thinking with their heart, and that's fine, man. We're fans. We're going to root for them. And in the first half, the Giants put up everything they can. You got to be proud of them. You basically had a C team playing football, and you're banged up in areas that are lethal to you. The Giants put up a little war, and the refs didn't help us out with two horrible calls, wiping away a 7 on bullshit, and calling a holding call, putting the Cowboys inside the 5 on Darnay Holmes' hold, a phantom hold call. He barely even touched a guy. The ball was 10 yards over the receiver's head. So once again, the refs do what they do to get the Cowboys a 7. So you took away a 7 and you handed them a 7. That's a 14-point swing. But hey, be that what it may, I don't think the Giants were winning the game anyway. And that's fine, man. You built a 7-2 record so that you could afford a few losses here. But now it ends. The New York Football Giants are coming home next week. We are getting back players. Evan Neal, Bellinger, that's two monster pieces. A tight end over the middle. He's a hell of a blocker. Evan Neal, a blocker. And we can get back to our run game. And we need the guards to come along. Whoever's in there. And I'll be honest, I don't like this Anderson guy. Every time we're in a short yardage on third down, he jumps, okay, and creates a false start penalty. He's done it 2 games in a row. And you see the coach is about to bite his face off. And I'm tired of it too. So if you can hold your ground for the snap on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 2, get the fuck off the field. Yo, we got a monster game. I told you guys this earlier last week. We're going to lose to the Cowboys, and then we're coming up on the game of the year. And here it is. We're going to get some pieces back. Bellinger, Neal. I believe Azeez is ready to come back next week, so you'll have your other edge rusher. And make no mistake about it, Kayvon Thibodeaux had the game of the year last night. He may have not had sack, but he had 10 pressures. And he was a monster off the edge. But it wasn't enough. He laid hit after hit on Dak, and that's what you ask of a kid. He's showing you stuff. Dexter and Leo play the way they always play. The Giants got to tighten up against the run up the middle. You're coming up against a more formidable roster next week. I know Washington's won 4 in a row. It may be 5 versus Atlanta this Sunday, but guess what? The Giants can ball with Washington. We're going to get pieces back. We're going to get healthy in the next few weeks. They're saying McKinney could be ready for the Eagle games in 21 days from now. McKinney would be huge. The young corners are not really ready for this type of game, but they look like they can get better. As Rodarius had an interception, whether it was a mistake by Dak or not, I don't care. He picked the ball off. We all know what Love can do. If you could get McKinney back in the middle of the field and put Darnay Holmes back in the slot where he belongs. Stop dogging Darnay Holmes for getting abused last night. Darnay Holmes is not supposed to play the number 1 receiver on the field, okay? He looks great when he's in and out throughout a game on a slot guy, a 3rd receiver. He's not going to hold down the number 1 receiver all night. He cannot match up with CeeDee Lamb. Get real. Be serious. Have some perspective. Get him back where he belongs. Get Love out there. Let's get McKinney back. And let me ask you a question. Where's Landon Collins? We signed this guy 4 weeks ago. Where is he? He doesn't even play football. I'm giving up on Golladay. Week after week I call his name. It's not his fault. The Giants are not going to use him. He clearly doesn't fit the Giants scheme. So Golladay is out. You got to get the pieces back on the O-line, and the New York Football Giants got to get back to running the ball. We need 100 yards a game. You can't be running for 40 or 50. It's not going to open up the passing. We don't have receivers. We have Slayton and James. You get Bellinger back. It's only going to work if you get the running game going. Slayton played great, caught a deep ball. If he didn't trip early in the game, he would have had a 7 on a 55-yard bomb from Jones, but he kind of stumbled on the turf there inside the 10. Lost a step. That cost him that touchdown. But you know what? You can get some pieces back. You got 10 days to game plan for Washington. The New York Football Giants are home with their home stadium crowd against Washington Redskins. Guess what? Circle that game. That's going to be the game of the year. Next week's game very well may decide the Giants' fate for the playoffs this year. You got Washington twice in the next 4 weeks. You got to pull a split realistically, which means you better win the home game. You better not lose next week. If the Giants lose next week, you make a case the season's over. Because it can snowball very easily downhill. You got the Eagles after that. The schedule is so rough. There's 2 circled games that the Giants must win this year because they're there for the winning. It's the Washington game in the Meadowlands, and it's the Colts in Week 17 in the Meadowlands. And if you don't win those 2 games, the Giants will not make the playoffs. You can make a case at 2-4, the Giants will still get in with 9 wins as a 7th seed. It's not for sure. The Lions losing yesterday helps us. Keeps them further away from coming out on tie because they got the tiebreaker. The New York Giants and Washington will play 2 games. I believe that will decide the season. The 2 games against the Eagles are going to be really hard for us without our roster. So that's why I say the Colts game at home is going to be a must-win later in the year. 10 days from now. You're given 10 days for Darboh to come up with an offensive scheme. He's got to add in some new plays, and the Giants got to get back to the running game. And it would help if they formed a couple of new runs, like sweeps with O-linemen pulling, a lot like the Lions have been running. You got to pull the backdoor tackle or the guard and start lead blocking for Barkley. We got to get Bellinger and Neal back on this line. Glowinski's a run blocker. He's not a pass blocker. We knew that. We got to get back to the run game, and you can keep mixing in the other backs. It looked like it could work. You also got to start finding Barkley in the passing game. And Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones. I'd love for him to be the guy, but the verdict is still out because I'm going to give him the full season, and Joe Shane's probably doing the same thing. But Daniel Jones, on 4th and 1.5, I don't care who's coming at you. You got to make that little lob pass to Barkley. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to throw a rope. You could throw a little rainbow. You needed 1.5. Barkley was wide open. You got to hit Barkley in that flat wide open. If Barkley gets the ball where he's supposed to and not behind him, there's not only 2 yards. You were looking at maybe Barkley going the distance because there was no one on that side of the field. That's a huge gain. Twice in the game, Jones missed Barkley. I got to keep it real. I kept it real about the game. I knew the Giants weren't winning, and I got to keep it real. On 4th and 1, Daniel Jones, you got to lob a pass to Barkley's hands. You can't be throwing it behind him where he's got to twist, turn, and fall down. That was at least a 30-yard gain. There was nobody there. No one anywhere near that side of the field. And you missed it twice yesterday. And I got to put that on Daniel Jones. 10 days. You got to add in a couple new wrinkles and get back to the run game. The Giants defense will get a much needed 10-day rest. And we should get back Azeez. We'll see what else we could get back. Listen, the Giants are going to get players back in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So the Giants have to survive. That doesn't mean win every week because that's not going to happen. You got to get this Washington game in 10 days. Forget yesterday. It's over. Don't dwell on it. Don't cry. The season is not over. Stop listening to the media. They love to create chaos and bullshit. And don't follow the Twitter losers because Twitter is a cesspool full of negativity. Think with your brain. Stay calm. Season always balances out. It's a roller coaster. There's ups and downs. The 7-2 record that we broke out to put us in a place where we were allowed to have a lull and a few losses here. We are still fine. The Giants are 7-4. And if I told you in August the Giants were 7-4, everybody in the world would have signed that paper in a heartbeat, right? We're in good shape still. We just got to get players back, because right now the only reason we're not in good shape is we are missing like 50% of this starting roster. And when you're playing with backup kids, you don't have guys to sub in to give those guys a rest. And that's what happened last night. You saw that defense tire out. There was no rotation, because we are actually starting the rotating players right now, especially in the secondary and on the O-line. The New York Giants have 10 days. And I'm going to tell you right now, I trust this coaching staff so much. And we all have a good home team. I'll tell you right now, I told you the Cowboys were winning the game. There was no doubt about it. The New York Giants in 10 days are going to knock Washington off at home. The Giants will beat the Washington Redskins in 10 days at home. I believe that. And that's why I'm not worried. I'm good. We are 7-4. And this is called an NFL season. And you can't throw yourself through a window just because you lost 2 games in a row. You got to remember who we are. We're a young team growing. But we are in a season where we were doing well, and expectation has been raised above what we thought. And you could still be there. Because the New York Giants next in 10 days can play Washington. We have a longer week to prepare and rest. Get back some players. And I'm going to tell you right now, you win the game in 10 days, we're 8-4, and we're sitting in a really good seat. We are right in the driver's seat to go to the playoffs. And you might put a 2-game separation between us and Washington. And it's time to handle business. You bring that team into our home, and you fucking handle business in 10 days. I already forgot about yesterday. That's gone. The Cowboys have a better team than us at this point. They are advanced. They're a veteran team. Don't bullshit yourself with believing with emotions. Think with this. The Giants can still make the wild card. And it's not really about this year, but it became about this year. Because we are living right now in this year. So why not build for the future while making the playoffs? The season's about 10 days from now. 1 game. Washington in the Meadowlands. 90,000 Giant fans in that stadium should be rocking. Show support because the team's going to need it. And we got to get players back. And it's time to get back to the ground game. And that only happens with getting back Bellinger and Neal. That's going to help the O-line big time. Stop panicking and stop fucking crying. 10 days, Washington. The Giants got to handle business. Now, the World Cup. The United States is 2 hours away from the biggest game in the World Cup so far in this tournament. England and the United States are going to go to war right here. This is simple. The whole world's watching. The England is a better team than the United States. We were projected to finish second in the group and move on. Iran beat Wales, so now Iran is a little bit of a hidden factor. We'll play Iran next week and we'll handle business. The United States got to go out and pull a draw right here. The United States can pull a 1-1 or a 0-0 or a 2-2 draw here. Get that point. That's like a win for the United States because England is favorite. England's ranked 3rd in the world, I believe. They should beat us today. The United States can play with them. If the United States pulls a draw, that's a second draw. That's 2 points. It's a point for a draw. It's 2 points for a win. A win. Top 2 out of every group moves on to the elimination rounds. 4 teams in 8 groups. That's 16 teams. 1 point, a draw right here at 2 o'clock today would be monster. Enjoy the game.